Hey Kev, let's follow this trail over here. This looks like there might be something waiting down there.
All right. Hey, wait a minute. Do you hear that?
Yeah, I thought it was just me. What the heck is that?
I don't know what that is. Whoa, do you smell that too?
That's unbelievable. Hey, look.
What the?
Hey, look, those branches are moving over there.
What the heck is that?
Holy cow, is that what I think it is? Look at that thing.
Oh my God.
It's a freaking Sasquatch. Welcome to the Bigfoot Terror in the Woods Sightings and Encounters podcast. I am your host, W.J. Sheehan, author of the series of books Bigfoot Terror in the Woods Sightings and Encounters, 38 volumes in audiobook, paperback, ebook, and Kindle format. All of them are available through viable links on our website, BigfootTerrorInTheWoods.com. Just go there. It's going to bring you to Amazon and save you the hassle of hunting and pecking around Amazon for the various books. So please go out there and buy a book and check out our shop. A lot of cool things on there. Magnetic bumper stickers, some of the great catchphrases on our show. Get the creep on with the black-eyed children. Always carry more gun than you think you're going to need. Sweatshirts, hats, coffee mugs, all kinds of cool stuff. So go over there and show some support for all the work I put into this and buy 45 coffee mugs to put in the cabinets over your sink.
And Christmas is coming, and if we come to your door and ring your doorbell and you don't have a present for us.
We're going to have a present for you. So, folks, Kev did a little fishing, and he sent me some pictures. Where were you, Kev? New Mexico?
Yeah, I was on the San Juan River in New Mexico, near the Four Corners, where the four states meet down there.
Yeah, it's a cool place, right? The Four Corners, they have that little monument there, right?
Yeah, I didn't make it over to the monument, but we were doing some fly fishing on the San Juan River. I had never been there before. It's really beautiful. Shout out to my friends at Soaring Eagle Lodge. They didn't sponsor us, but they were nice hosts.
Yeah, they didn't sponsor us. Unbelievable, Kev. But, I mean, talk about scenic. You know, when you go to different places and when you see different places, people send photographs of this and that, where they live, how they live, the places they hang out. We live in a great country with so much diversity of landscape and hobbies that people have, you know, and how they spend their time, you know, and it's just incredible, you know, Kev?
Yeah, I was telling one of the guides when we came in the evening, you know, because we were in these drift boats and we would drift down the river, you know, pretty much all day long, from 8 o'clock in the morning till about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And we're fly fishing, so you're really concentrating on the water, concentrating on the fly, looking for the fish under the fly, to the point where sometimes you forget to look up. And I told him one, you know, when I did look up at these mesas around us and these beautiful trees, I had never seen them before in the fall, but they're called cottonwoods, and they're like bright yellow with this really rich bark, and they're all along the sides of the river. And then you see these red, you know, rock mesas coming up out of the trees and that all around the river, and you can sit there and just look at the scenery for hours, you know. But then, of course, you wouldn't catch any fish.
Yeah, every time you had a fish rise, you'd miss it.
I missed them, yeah. But it was a nice sight. But I took a ton of pictures of both the fish, the water, and the mesas and cottonwood trees. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, amazing, man. Cottonwood.
Very,
I was just
yeah, very rural place too. Like, oh my goodness, not much around at all.
No Bigfoot scaling the mesa?
Well, we may talk about that when we get to my section.
All right, man. Let me jump into this account, Kev. This took place in Colorado. And I'm telling you guys, some of these accounts are so fantastic. But if you allow yourself to enter into the fray, so to speak, and put yourself in the shoes that Harold Schaefer was in, I think you'd fear the worst as these guys did. And let me just get right into it. In late June, Bill, of 2011, myself and two other cronies jumped into my buddy Dave's 4x4 and headed over to Yankee Hill Road near Idaho Springs in Colorado. Now, folks, if anybody is familiar with this area, I want you to reach out to me. Tell me if you've heard or seen anything in the vicinity of Yankee Hill Road near Idaho Springs in Colorado. Inasmuch as most of your readers or listeners, Bill, will have no idea what that has to do with anything, Yankee Hill Road is a four-wheeling trail that is about 15 miles or so out and back. The trail can range from the fairly mundane to a very difficult outing. And there are many side trails and offshoots, which can be a lot of fun, providing you have the right truck to experience them. We had been rat racing around for a couple of hours when we decided to take a beer break, stopping next to a field that was bordered by a barbed wire fence. The field was full of tall brown and green-colored grass. Now, set back about 75 feet into the field was a huge patch of birch trees, on the corner of which was an old-looking little stone house with a brown roof. Now, if you're wondering why we had stopped, just try drinking a beer while in a 4x4. I can appreciate that. So, after having the first couple of brews, after having the first couple of brews we cracked, squirt all over the place, we were sitting in the truck slugging a few down and overall enjoying ourselves. Dave's truck was an old Land Rover from the early 70s, the kind with 3 spare tires, a fold-down windshield, and canvas-covered jump seats, which gave it the true safari feel. It only had a 4-cylinder engine, but this thing was built to run and run hard. So while we were sitting there, Dave shouts out, "Oh my God, look at that!" As he flung his arm to point, he doused me with a beer. While I was paying more attention to being soaked with beer and not looking where he had pointed, Tony said, "No way, dude. That was a friggin' Bigfoot." So I turned to look, but whatever they had seen was already gone. They started jabbering that a Bigfoot had stepped out from behind this little house, turned to look at us, and jumped back behind it. They were sincere enough, but I hadn't seen anything, and neither of them wanted to get out of the truck to look, which kind of cemented it in my own mind that they had really seen something. As you would imagine, they couldn't shut up about what they had seen. And Dave actually said, "I'm getting the heck out of here." I'll tell you, Bill, they were visibly shaken, and Tony's eyes were bugging out of the sockets in a way I had never seen them before. He was really afraid. So it was starting to get late in the day, and we were making our way through a forest of tall pines when there was a loud crack, followed by the right front end of the truck dropping down onto the tire. Now, I forget if it was a tie rod or a ball joint or whatever, but the body of this Land Rover was now resting on a caved-in wheel, and we weren't going any further. Thank God we had cellular service, and Dave had a number for some type of four-wheel towing outfit who said they would be out to get him, but it would be a while. An hour into the wait, the sun having already set and darkness beginning to set in, it was really dark where we had broken down, in that we were completely engulfed in some, say, 60-foot tall spruce trees or whatever they were in every direction, with the exception of the 10-foot wide dirt trail we were on, and that's when things began to get really interesting. We had been sitting in the dark now for about an hour. The temperatures began to drop, and we were getting a little cold. The beer had run out, and everyone was more than a little exhausted from drinking and waiting. At some point, Dave reopened the siding of the Bigfoot as we sat there in the dark and started up the truck to get some heat going. He turned the headlights on, which kind of warmed me up about being there in the dark, and so we sat bullshitting about the Bigfoot and wondering if it or others may even be watching us as we sat there idling. Now it had been more than 90 minutes since Dave had placed a call, and I started to wonder if anyone was actually going to come at all. I was sitting in the back of the truck, kind of leaning forwards. Dave and Tony were in the front seats. The back of this Land Rover was a hardtop with clear glass all the way around, and there we sat until, without warning, blam! The back side of the truck where I was sitting got slammed with such force that the truck was lifted clear off the ground, throwing me out of the seat and against the other side, while at the same moment Dave's head had hit the driver's door window with such force that he had broken the glass. I don't know how he remained conscious because his head sounded like a sledgehammer when it hit the glass. The interior of this truck, if you've never seen one, was bare bones aluminum with nothing, hold on a second, with nothing to absorb an impact whatsoever. And I actually had rammed my elbow right into the corner of the wheel well. Now the two of us were groaning and cursing while Tony was yelling, "What the freak was that?" Nobody was going to get out, and all the windows were rolled up with the exception of Dave's door window, through which the cold night's wind was now blowing. As we were trying to come to grips with our own pain and what had just happened, crack! We heard a huge tree or branch breaking and a loud crash coming directly out of the woods through Dave's now missing window. All of us lurched to our right in response to the sound, which was followed by some kind of loud grunt or noise, and then something that sounded like gibberish. And that's the only way I can describe it, Bill. It was like loud, unintelligible communication of some kind, and it was very, very close to us. A minute later, there was a flash of light, and as I turned my head to the rear, I saw several sets of headlamps rocking and rolling along the trail. I knew our rescuers had finally arrived. As they pulled up to us, having no idea of what had happened and what was currently going on, we immediately started shouting out to them, "Be careful! Something is in the woods right there." Two of the guys had pistols, and everyone was now shining flashlights into the woods with guns ready to fire, when suddenly a round was shot, followed by a second. When all the commotion was over, this dude who had fired the gun said that he saw something really big run out from behind a tree and fired at it. As things began to settle down, the conversation began to turn on to the way we had looked and the broken glass. We were all telling our tale from the beginning as one of the guys walked to the side of the truck where the initial bang had occurred, and the top edge of the roof was actually caved in several inches in 2 different spots. As we were talking, one of the other guys who was driving a 4-wheel drive F650 with a tow bed said, "Let's get this thing loaded up and get the hell out of here." I couldn't have agreed more, and so we did. 15 minutes later, we were on our way out, and boy, was I relieved. Each of us now was riding in a different vehicle. And when I started to tell the dude I was with everything that had gone down, he said, "A lot of people claim to have seen Bigfoot in Colorado, but I've never heard anyone say the things which you're saying about this type of an attack. It sounds like you boys are lucky to be alive right now." When we got back to our destination, one of the fellows said we more than likely were hit by a bull moose, and that it was the moose we heard cracking branches and grunting. The other dude fired back saying, "That was no bull moose. I squeezed the trigger on, bub. That was a monster." And that's how it all ended, Bill, in the parking lot of this repair shop. It was one hell of a night, and I can tell you that much for sure. Bizarre, Kevin.
Well, crazy. Now, so while this thing's slamming into the vehicle, they didn't get a good look at it, or I know it was a shock.
Not. They were BSing sitting in the dark with the headlights on and the heat on, and just talking to each other in the truck, surrounded by these pines on this trail, and basically pitch black. And it sounds like something bum rushed the side of the truck and slammed it.
Holy moly!
Yeah. And the one guy's window got blown out, the driver's door. And the dude in the back, Harold, said he got tossed across and slammed his elbow on the sheet metal inside of this Land Rover.
And then they said it was pounding on the roof too, right?
Well, the other guy saw, after the fact, when they got picked up, he saw what appeared to be he saw 2 indentations, I guess, in the edge of the roof, like something pounded on it, maybe with 2 fists.
Yeah, and those Land Rovers, those old ones were beasts.
Yeah, well, they were made tough, but they were all aluminum, no?
Some of them were. You're right. The Toyota the Land Rover, I don't think was aluminum. The Toyota Land Rover, Land Cruiser, whatever it was, that was aluminum.
Okay.
But I don't know if the English one was.
Yeah, I don't know, but those are the little... I remember on Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom, whenever they were in Africa, they were in one of them.
Yeah, those were the British ones, I think.
Who knows, man?
Yeah.
But
the old Defenders.
Yeah, the little square jobs, Amazing, man. Can you imagine for one moment to be sitting in the dark in a vehicle that something, the front end fell out of, and well, like he said, I didn't know if it was a tie rod or a ball joint, but the front end just collapsed down onto the wheel, and they weren't going anywhere,
Yeah,
and then sitting there,
terrifying.
Oh my God, I just can't believe it. So there you have it, Colorado, a ripe location for Bigfoot sightings.
Yeah, we definitely know that there's a lot of hairy man sightings in Colorado.
Yeah, for sure. And a couple of bogus ones, like that one with the thing was running around when the train was coming by.
Yeah.
That was so, I mean, come on, man. People actually were fooled by that. I said it looked like a guy in a Halloween costume jumping around over there, like posing for the people on the train,
Yeah, yeah.
But so again, folks, if you know anything about this area, Yankee Hill Road near Idaho Springs in Colorado, feel free to chime in. Maybe you 4-wheel out there where these guys were 4-wheeling, You never know, Kev.
No doubt about it. I mean, it sounds like a great place to go have some fun unless you get stuck there at night. I mean, I'm just sitting there thinking, okay, I'm drinking beer with my friends, sitting in a vehicle, lights on, heat's on, dark area, and all of a sudden, whammo, like what the heck? That's got to give you a heart attack.
Yeah, I mean, and not knowing what the feeling of helplessness.
Oh, what? I mean, you can't get more helpless.
No, here these guys are. They obviously didn't have any guns with him. I mean, I get it. You're going out 4-wheeling. Not everybody's carrying a weapon around. But what if, guys? Just what if you really need something? I don't know what the carry permits are in Colorado. If you could have a shotgun in your truck or a pistol, I talk to a lot of people where they can carry a gun, but I don't know anything about Colorado.
Yeah, I don't know for sure, but I think it is pretty liberal what you
Yeah.
can carry, especially, you're out in the wilderness because it's for your own safety.
I mean, Kev, if I could, I'd have a gun on me every day,
Yeah.
just for good measure.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go flashing it around or whatever. I wouldn't mind having a conceal and carry permit with a shoulder holster. Just under my suit jacket, have some type of, something small with like a 16-inch barrel on it.
I was thinking of a 44 Magnum. This here is the most powerful handgun in the world.
You got to ask yourself, punk, do I feel lucky?
Hey, was it 5 or was it 6? In all the excitement, I kind of lost count myself.
But I'm willing to pull the trigger again.
I got to know. I got to know.
Those Dirty Harry movies
Dirty
were
Harry.
fantastic, man.
Harry Callahan.
Yeah, absolutely. You remember that diner scene
Oh, yeah.
in the city?
Yeah.
Where he goes in and the server behind the counter obviously is somebody he's seen many times before.
Yeah, didn't she like overpour his coffee or something like that? Like,
No, well, she brought the wrong thing out that he never orders.
oh, okay.
Like, in other words, she knew what he comes in there to get, breakfast special, over easy, whatever. And she put something else in front of him deliberately that she knew he would get.
Right.
Get why she put it there.
Yeah.
So she lays it down, and then he kind of takes a second glance at the three goons at the table by the window. And then he just rises up out of the stool at the counter and blasts these three goons. As soon as he stood up, they tried to get up like they were going to draw on him, and he just wasted them all.
I remember you had to meet with the inspector after that, and they said,
Yeah. Callahan.
Callahan, people have a habit of dying around you.
Great one.
I'm going to have to watch that again. Dirty Harry.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He was fantastic.
Awesome.
So that was it, Kev.
Cool. Well, I started out talking about fishing in the San Juan River Basin, and guess what? I did my research on Bigfoot in the San Juan River Basin.
Oh, interesting.
And it turns out that there's quite a bit going on there for a very long time.
Amazing. Yeah.
And I wasn't surprised because they had elk all around there. I saw some elk. They have cougars like crazy around there. I didn't see any cougars, but you rarely do.
Right.
And they have javelina hogs, the wild pigs of the desert out there. And it's like pretty wooded. It's a high desert. So, not like Phoenix, Arizona.
Right.
Like we were fishing at about 6,500 feet above sea level, for example.
Wow, you were up there.
Yeah, we were up there, and there were big mesas all around us. So
It just goes to show you, Kev. Find the food, find the water, find the Bigfoot.
no, and that's exactly it. So like the in this research, I was looking at it and seeing like if it was a realistic place for Bigfoot to live first, right? And it's the San Juan River also has this forest that follows it all along, this beautiful fertile valley. And I could tell when I was driving down there early Wednesday morning, going down these rural roads, and all of a sudden you come over the top of this mesa and you see all of these cottonwood trees and pine trees down in this valley, and they're surrounding the river as it runs all the way through that part of New Mexico and Colorado, right?
And you think about it, Kev, a perfect place to stalk, a perfect place for wildlife to walk through, everybody going to the river to drink. Just the ideal location to have a blind or hide and get to jump on something on a trail.
No doubt about it. It's kind of like a river highway that provides dense cover, water, lots of food. I mean, of course, we were catching big rainbow trout and big brown trout. And while we were fishing, we saw these muskrats that were swimming in the river. And
Oh
we even
yeah.
saw some river otters too, pretty big river otters,
So this place was just loaded with
teeming
wildlife.
with life.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
freaking
mean,
fish,
what a great
otters,
place,
muskrat.
you know.
Kev, I've often thought, we've all seen pictures of lions in Africa, cougars in trees in Colorado, Idaho, and whatnot. And we've seen actual movies now in this day and age of some of these creatures launching an attack from a branch, jumping down on like a gazelle or an animal. And I've often thought, why not a Bigfoot? What would prohibit a Bigfoot from sitting up on a stout branch and just staying in situ until something came under it and then just launching an aerial attack coming down and just smashing the bejesus out of whatever it comes down onto?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be a apex predator move. Look at that, the great white sharks. Now they're figuring out that they generally attack from directly below the prey.
Yeah, they come down straight up like a missile.
Like a missile, yeah. This is the
By
opposite.
the way, Kev, I don't know if you heard this or not. I think it was the DEC or National Oceanic Society or something has confirmed and reported that the coastal area of Long Island, New York, New Jersey is confirmed a white shark nursery.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah. So on Shark Week, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, one of the standard groups that they film on that Shark Week was right off Montauk. I mean, I don't think they were an eighth of a mile, which is close, from the lighthouse and the north side beach where everybody fishes and there's all kinds of boats over there. And they were diving in cages trying to prove or disprove that there was a nursery there, that white sharks were birthing there. And they did have little white sharks, 4, 5, 6 footers. So, yeah, I heard a report many years ago of some guys that were in a 20-foot Steiger craft. And by the way, folks, Steiger is a boat manufacturer right here in Bellport, Long Island. They were in a 20-foot Steiger, and outside of Shinnecock Inlet, which is one of my favorite places to just hang out and chill, and a white shark came by their boat that was bigger than the 20-footer.
Oh, yeah. Well, I knew they moved up along that way because it's the ocean. But
Well, they go past us up to Massachusetts.
exactly. We know they hang out up there. But what the turning point, Bill, has since I moved away many years ago, we never had seals and sea lions and stuff. You guys got a lot of seals now.
Yeah, there's a lot, and they grow because there's no predation.
Well, and but I mean, great white sharks love seals and sea lions.
Yeah, well, I was right on the rocks one spring with Danny, and the seal was looking at us, going along the rocks, sticking its head in the nooks and crannies. I think it was looking for like crabs or lobsters. And it kept looking directly at us, no fear at all. And you could see a couple of times it was trying to climb the rocks to come to us. And I was blown away by that. But
Probably knew you had a couple of burgers in your pockets.
Yeah, a couple of burgers.
Hey, throw me one of those cheeseburgers. No mustard.
So anyways, I don't know how I got. So go back to your story.
Yeah. So let's go back in time first, and we'll talk about some modern day encounters. So this area, the San Juan River Basin there in northern New Mexico is part of the Navajo Nation. And the Navajo definitely talk about this creature, and they have a name for it called Yeti de Kluy, Kluii. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that correctly. But what's interesting is The Navajo talk about the creature as being an absolute monster. And, that these giant beings bring chaotic forces and prey on humans,
Well, there you have it.
right?
And how about the usage of the word Yeti?
I know, but it's in their language, so.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a translation that relates to what we hear from over in Europe,
It does.
Asia.
It does. And I don't know if it's coincidence or what.
Yeah.
But what's really interesting, though, is that they talk about it, and the quote is, "It is evil and does no good."
Yeah, it sounds like something you want to go talk to, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go pet it.
Yeah.
And they had come across some ancient petroglyphs that depict a furry Bigfoot-like figure, and they say that it's distinguished by having 6 toes, which I never heard of before.
Okay.
Pretty interesting, right?
Yeah. I mean, now the naysayers would say, "Yeah, the guy just was bad at art, and that was really his mother-in-law before she took a shave."
Could be. Could be.
Wow, 6 toes.
Yeah, but the activity there, it's not limited to ancient folklore. It's thought about as a hotspot for contemporary sightings. And I didn't know that until I started researching it.
Okay.
So I'm going to go through a couple of the sightings here.
Excellent.
All right. So this woman named Brenda Harris, she's in a town called Upper Fruitland, which is very close to where I was. And this happened in August 2008. Okay. She's
Not that long ago.
No, she's at her home, and she's a Navajo resident of Upper Fruitland. And the incident began around 1 a.m. in the morning when her son and nephew, who were outside in the yard, ran into the house claiming to have found something. Harris went out and was astonished to find 2 very large, quasi-human looking footprints. She carefully measured and photographed them, and they were 18 inches long, 4 inches wide, and the stride between the left and right prints was about 4 feet.
Now, that's interesting, too, when we talk about footprints, because that had a good length to it, but rather narrow.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking down at my foot right now. My foot has to be 4 inches wide.
Yeah, I was going to say 3.5 or so for mine.
Yeah,
close.
But I'm wearing a 12. That had an 18 with no shoe on it,
Right.
I mean, that's a pretty
But
big
you're
foot.
a little bit of a big foot, too. And then about a week later, Brenda had a follow-up encounter. Around 10:30 p.m., Harris's sister was visiting. The dogs began going nuts, but not in the usual way. They sounded really disturbed. Harris and her sister went out to investigate. They heard heavy steps coming toward them. After hearing the steps again, Harris saw a shape rise from the gloom. She described it as huge, very, very hairy, long dark hair, and no neck. She noted a pointy head and really wide, muscular chest and shoulders.
Kevin, I always say, if you're hearing them, they want you to hear them.
Yeah.
Because I don't buy into the fact that anything that lives outside, anything that's a predator, knows and was created to walk stealthily. Because otherwise you'd be giving up. You'd never catch anything. Everything would hear you coming.
Yeah.
Even the Indians and in kung fu clinics and whatnot, people perfect walking like in kung fu on rice paper.
Yeah.
Without crackling or crunching, the steady
Yeah,
pace,
sneaking
deliberately.
along.
Yeah, heel toe, gently,
Yep.
So it's just, for people, it's a matter of controlling your muscles, but I'm sure Bigfoot and other animals in the forest have that God-given ability to move stealthily. Otherwise, like I said, if there was no fruit around or anything else to eat, you'd just starve.
Yep.
If you had to stalk, try sneaking up on something quietly in your yard. Everything runs away.
Yeah, pretty hard to do. Easy
Yeah.
to say, hard to do.
Yeah. Try sneaking up on a fat raccoon that's in your yard and see what happens. They just go, pew, gone. Unbelievable.
Yeah, so here's another one for you. In November 2020, 58-year-old Emerson Jim, that's his name, was gathering firewood with his family near the summit in the Chuska Mountains. The encounter occurred in broad daylight around 4:30 p.m. First came the smell, an obnoxious stench that Emerson described as overpowering, like a rotting animal. Mm-hmm. And then came the sound, a howler scream that froze the family dead in their tracks. A deafening silence followed the scream. As the family began to leave, they heard branches breaking as if something heavy was stepping on them.
That's a deliberate act.
Oh, yeah. And the reaction was pure primal fear. He and his family took off running and have never returned to that part of the forest.
That's the Chuska, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that a national forest?
Could be. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I've heard tale over there of activity.
Could be.
Wow.
Yeah,
Man.
and one more for you.
Yeah.
So this one I had to cover because this is right along the river. Jacob Chavez, the owner of a fly fishing guide service, was on the San Juan River near Blanco, New Mexico, during harvest season. While fishing, he heard a deep, guttural howl that was so powerful it was clearly heard over the sound of the rapids and the birds.
Wow.
I know. A few minutes later, Chavez heard the creature moving through the brush upstream and away from him. He never got a clear look at what made the noise, but he reported it to the History Channel's Ancient Monster Quest crew.
Wow.
And that was the third time he had experienced such a phenomena in that area.
Kev, while you were there on that river drift boating, what was typically flanking the banks? Tall grass, trees, nothing?
Very tall grass and brush, like 5 or 6 feet tall.
Yeah, because it's gonna grow. Typically grow like gangbusters next to the water.
Yeah, no, really tall stuff. Like because I was thinking about it, of course, while I'm sitting there. So it could be very easy for a creature to come out of this grass and reach down to the water, get a drink of water, go in the water and grab a fish, whatever.
Did you happen to notice? I know you're fly fishing, right? You're drifting, you're paying attention to the surface, but you're looking around.
Yeah.
Did you see any game trail openings as you were drifting along?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, see.
Absolutely.
So they know.
Yeah.
They know. All creatures, great and small, travel. I'm going to talk about my friend Rich again. Rich, God bless you, bro. Rich sent me a couple of pictures before of his place up in Idaho. And I said to him, he's got a couple of snapshots from one of his game trail cameras of creatures coming right up his driveway. And I said to him, you see, creatures, bears, there was a bear with a cub, a deer, a couple of deer. Even though this driveway was created by men, a dirt driveway that was bulldozed open with a metal gate on the end of it that you could walk around in the trees. But the creatures walk up his driveway.
Oh, yeah.
There's woods all over the place, trees. They could go completely avoid it if they wanted to, but they follow the open trail. In this case, it's like, an 8-foot wide dirt driveway that leads up to the house he's building.
No, they're creatures of habit. They like it could be that was a bit of a game trail before he made it into his driveway, too.
That's right.
I know when I was up in Alaska, with the big brown bears, like the guides would tell us, like, well, this here is a trail where the bears walk down all day long. And, I thought they were teasing me. And then you walk along a little bit on the trail and there's a big pile of bear scat.
Yeah. No.
And then we saw, like, the next day, bears walking down the same trail. It's like their little highway.
Yeah. No doubt about it. And you can't blame any creature for taking the easy way.
No.
Like even with fish don't waste energy. If you're fishing in a river and the current's coming at you, any fly fisherman or me drifting for stripers, I look for drop-offs. Excuse me. I look for a boulder under the water, a tree hung up, a snag. And those fish are going to set up behind that to save energy in the current. And they will pop out to grab something and then go back in.
They let the food come to them.
That's right. They just do it.
No, that's exactly how we were catching them, too. Little drop-offs, the rocks,
Yeah. No, and the guys in their drift boats, they know what's going on around there.
No doubt about it.
They put you on it,
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's good stuff, folks. If you get a chance to go down there, even if you don't fish, what a beautiful place.
Yeah, Kevin, so much for the friendly, hairy man of the woods. That stuff really tires me. And that's why I always say to always carry more gun than you think you're going to need.
The Navajo don't think it's, when they describe it as pure evil, too, it also gets to the point of, what is Bigfoot and what could Bigfoot be at times,
Yeah.
Which we've
now,
talked about.
There's nothing sweet and cuddly about it. And I haven't said it in a while, but my friends, if you meet up with Bigfoot and walk away, you've had a really good day.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it.
Cool.
So what do we have in our listener mail today, Kevin?
Yeah, we got some good mail. Thanks, folks, for writing in again. Keep the letters coming. We're going to cover one that's a bit detailed today, Bill, from Derek in Manitoba. And he says, Bill and Kevin, thanks for mentioning me, Derek. I'm curious, after all these years of doing the show, do you think Bigfoot is real? If so, what do you think it actually is? Well, it's multiple choice. He says, 1, a physical being that evolved quietly alongside us, which explains the physical footprints that are often found. 2, some kind of dimensional being that's able to enter and leave our dimension at will, which is indicated by Bigfoot tracks in the snow just suddenly ending for no reason.
Yeah.
Or 3, some kind of extraterrestrial being, as many Bigfoot sightings also involve UFO sightings. Curious what each of you think after hearing all the stories Bill has collected over the years. So we got a physical being that evolved, some kind of dimensional being that can, go in and out of some kind of portal, or some kind of extraterrestrial being.
Yeah, what do you think, Kev? You've heard a lot about this now since we've joined up. What's your opinion?
We certainly hear all 3 of those, Derek, on a repeated basis. I'm consistent in our hundreds of episodes of podcasts that I'm a believer in Occam's razor, where, Occam's razor states that the most obvious solution is probably the actual solution. So I would go with 1. A physical being that's evolved quietly alongside us,
Yeah.
But that said, you didn't give us a choice of some demonic type creature. And I do believe that, I do believe in demonic creatures and demons, and I do believe that they can manifest themselves in any shape, and we do know of these red eyes and stuff. But, and I know you can have a stink associated with demons too. But I always think of that as being more associated with poor cleanliness, poor hygiene.
Well, even myself, I haven't showered in 21 days. So the microphone is wilting in front of me, but I don't care.
And that's why we do this recording, folks, 600 miles away from one another. And by the way, my windows are shut. Just in case that northerly breeze is blowing. So I go with 1, and with the addition that, sometimes there could be some type of demonic manifestation. But what do you think, Bill? 1 or 2, the dimensional being that's able to leave or enter our dimension at will, or 3, some kind of extraterrestrial?
Yeah, my opinion is, and anybody really would know this that has listened to us for a long time. I think the UFO phenomena in its entirety and the Bigfoots that appear to come and go, disappear from infrared, all of that, Wendigos, uh, you know, all of that stuff is of the demonic realm, in my opinion. And it's just by design supposed to get our minds and our hearts off of what I believe is the truth and onto something else, to kind of make you scatterbrained about what's going on Earth. Well, maybe this, or maybe that, or, maybe aliens planted us. Come on, man. I'm not buying it. You're entitled to buy whatever you want to, but you're not going to buy it with my money. Yeah. No, I think there's two things going on here: flesh and blood creature, and then demonic activity.
Okay, so you're agreeing with me then. You agree
Of
with
course.
number one, and then 1A, some type of demonic thing that Derek
Kev,
didn't give us a choice of.
Yeah, we know demonic activity goes on in all kinds
Oh,
of
yeah.
shapes and forms. Look at the black-eyed children phenomena. Where do you think that came from, folks? I mean, you think that came down from heaven? They mean us no harm. They're just good little kids knocking on your door.
Bill, right now it's very dark here, and my Ring cameras keep going off, and I'd rather not look at the black-eyed children, even if they just want to borrow the telephone.
All right. Well, pardon me for a minute while I grab my double barrel and load it.
All right, great podcast, Bill. Thanks, folks, for listening. Give us a 5-star review when you get a minute, and keep those emails coming. We'll keep them anonymous, but we love hearing from you, even if you just want to say hello.
Yeah, folks, and hit the shop if you can. Buy a hat, bumper stickers, shirt, whatever. And remember, if you're four-wheeling in Colorado, Yankee Hill Road near Idaho Springs, or perhaps you're at the Four Corners, drift boating, and you have to pull over and enter the weeds for a little break, you best remember one thing, my friends. Always carry more gun than you think you're going to need. Sleep tight.